Hi everyone. It's been an intense 24 hours. It's been an intense year. It's been an intense time, and many of us are still at home most of the time. And I wanted to share today a restorative, kind of calming, grounding yoga practice. And one of the things that we all have at home that we all probably really want to just snuggle up with and sleep with right now is pillows. So for today's practice, we're going to do some restorative, grounding, calming yoga using pillows, which hopefully you will be able to find some of. So get yourself a few pillows. If you can get 2, great. If you can get 3 or maybe even 4, even better. Try to have a couple that are the same size generally. And if you have a few, odd size pillows like from your sofa, that's fine too. I'm just starting with a pile of pillows. So I've got a big pile of pillows here. I may not need all of them, but if I decide that I want more support or if I decide I want to be extra soft and comfy, I may grab another one at any point. So get yourself some pillows and keep them nearby, and then come on down to your yoga mat. If you don't have a yoga mat, that's absolutely fine. You can put a blanket on the floor, you could put a towel on the floor, or you could just lay down on the floor if that's comfortable for you, and we will get started. So I want to start with just a little gentle movement because sometimes just getting our body moving a little bit will help let us calm down a little more easily and let us get into those restorative poses. Sometimes if you just go straight into a nice calm restorative pose where you're not moving very much, your body isn't quite ready for that. So we're going to give our central nervous system a little bit of a little bit of a wake up and then a little cool down. So just make some space. Again, if you don't have a yoga mat, it's no big deal. Most of this is going to be, in fact, all of this I think is going to be on the ground. So we're going to come to table pose. Hands and knees. I'm doing table pose under the table. This is a first. And we're going to be hands and knees. Knees are separated hip width apart. And we're going to just take a little cat and cow. So on the inhale, you're lifting and arching your back, opening your chest. And then on the exhale, you're curving your spine, rounding your back, tucking your tailbone and dropping your head. And then repeat that. Deep breaths. You may be familiar with cat and cow. You can do this with eyes open or closed. So make sure you're moving through your full range of motion. Make sure you're breathing deeply. And I should say that if you want to pause this and get yourself some calm music that you like, you're welcome to do that. Good. And then we're going to come to another flat back, just neutral spine, and take a little side to side like you're wagging your tail. So your hips swing over to the right, your head swings over to the right, and then you swing over to the left. Just moving side to side laterally, stretching one side of the torso, and then swinging over and stretching the opposite side out. And if you can't quite get the hang of it, no big deal. As long as you're moving around, that's great. All right. And then let's come back to child's pose. Press back, sitting your hips back towards your heels. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Good. All right, back up to table pose again. Let's stretch one leg back. We'll stretch the right leg back and the left arm forward. So opposite arm and leg are reaching out, stretching out. That back leg is straight. Your foot is flexed, the toes are pointing down towards the ground. Reach out through your heel, reach out through your fingertips. Breathe. Draw the belly up so you're staying supported. You're supporting your lower back by drawing the belly in, not letting the belly hang down and swaying the back. Keep it all nice and long. And then let's come down and switch. Other leg goes back, flex that foot, straighten the leg, reach the opposite arm forward. Again, nice long, engaged spine. Belly is in to support the lower back, so we're not hanging there. Breathe. If any of this hurts to do with your palm flat on the ground, you can switch to a fist. You can also come down to your elbow instead. All right, take it down. All right, a little downward dog. So we'll plant the hands shoulder width apart, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up high. Spread your hands out so you're getting a nice wide base of support, not little wimpy fingers like this. Stretch out big, like big gecko hands. If you want, you can bend one knee at a time, sort of walking through the feet. And then another child's pose. Sitting back and a rest. Breathe. And then we're going to come back to table pose again. We're going to repeat that opposite arm and leg pose that we did. Tricky cat is how I learned it. So right leg back, left arm forward. Stretch out, breathe. This time find something to focus your gaze on. Look at something that's not moving and keep your eyes fixed on that as you breathe and stretch out. And then take it down and switch. Opposite arm and leg, reaching out. Keep your belly pulling in. Find that focal point for your eyes. And then lower down. Let's go back to downward dog. If you feel like you'd rather take a child's pose, that's fine. If you can lift up into a downward dog for a few breaths, do that. And then another child's pose. Knees down, sink your hips back. Let's come on to the elbows now. So we're going to put the elbows down on the ground. You can either interlace your fingers or keep your hands as separate fists, you choose. So elbows on the ground, stretch your legs back into a plank pose. We're coming into forearm plank here. The belly's drawing in. Stretch yourself long from the top of your head to your heels, like somebody's pulling you in opposite directions. Belly still pulling in, legs are strong, sides of the body are squeezing into the middle, so the hips are squeezing into the center line. Breathe. And then let's lower the knees down, untuck the toes, lower the hips down. All right, sweeping your arms back. Let's come into Shalabhasana. So arms are reaching back. I'll show this one from the side. Shalabhasana, lift everything up. Locust pose. Arms lift up, chest lifts up, legs lift up. If you'd like, you can clasp your hands together behind your back. You don't have to do that. Tailbones pressing down into the ground to keep that lower back long. Reach back through your fingers and toes. Breathe. If that feels like it's too much, you can prop up on your elbows and just take a little Sphinx pose instead. All right, let's come back to child's pose again. Pressing back, knees bend, sit back towards your heels and breathe. All right, so we're going to call that our warm-up. If you don't feel quite warmed up enough yet, you can rewind the video and start and do all this over again, or you can do your own warm-up. So for now, we're going to move on to the restorative poses with our pillows. So first pose, child's pose, one we just did actually. There's a couple different ways to use pillows for child's pose. The first one that we're going to do right now is we're going to have it underneath our legs. So it's going to be back here. Now, anytime I say use a pillow, you can use one pillow or you can use more. So if you need to be up higher, you can certainly pile more pillows underneath there if you want. And then we're going to sit back just like we would in child's pose, sitting the hips back, basically sitting on top of these pillows, the arms stretched out in front. You could have your hands crossed or your arms crossed like this and rest on your hands. Rest your forehead on your hands if you like. So what this does, you can just stay there in that child's pose and breathe. What we're doing here with the pillow underneath our seat is that we're just making that bend in the knees a little less deep. So it's going from like a kind of a pretty extreme flexion of the knee to not quite so much. This is a good variation to do if you have knee issues and child's pose is uncomfortable for you. Sometimes people with very tight quadriceps or hips, child's pose can be really challenging and not that comfortable. This is a way to make it a little more comfortable. You're always welcome to just keep a pillow near your yoga mat, or if you have a blanket, you can fold that up. If you have a bolster or something similar to that, that's what we would typically use here. So we're just going to stay here, taking nice, calm, deep breaths. And trying to let the body soften. Letting gravity do its job here. Not tensing up against it, but instead just letting the muscles soften and feel very weighted. Just continue to bring your focus inward. And just as we would do if this were Shavasana, this is a good time to let go of anything else that might be on your mind. And as those things, sometimes it's like whack-a-mole. I feel like they keep popping up, and it's your job to just notice them and put them off to the side. Whack them back down. Deal with them later when you're more in a more clear headspace, which hopefully after a yoga practice you will be. So as distractions come up, just notice that you've become distracted and get back to your breathing. Get back to being present. All right, we're going to come out of that pose. We're just going to sit the hips over to one side and come into Dandasana. So Dandasana typically is where we're sitting up very tall with the legs very straight out in front, arms are down by our sides, and we're trying to kind of make ourselves this nice upright seat. We're going to use our pillows under our seat today. My cat is really wanting to join in. So a couple pillows under your seat. These tend to be kind of squishy, so they're not as good as maybe sitting on something more firm like a yoga blanket. But if you pile up a couple of them, it should do the trick for today. So sitting up on your pillows, we'll just stretch the legs out in front and keep your feet kind of wide apart. So keep your feet about mat width apart, or maybe hip width or a little wider than hip width apart, somewhere around there, just to help you find your balance and feel this groundedness. And then we're just going to sit up tall. If you feel like you're falling off your pillows, you can adjust. But sitting up tall through your spine. Hands can be either on your lap, you could have your hands down by your sides. If you want, you could even reach back behind you. Keep your hands clasped behind your back and straighten the arms. Sit up tall. So this can be as active as you want it to be. If you're doing a pretty active version of this pose, then we'll think about straightening the legs and reaching the heels forward, maybe even spreading the toes out, stretching out the bottoms of the feet by spreading the toes out. You could do this hand clasping behind the back, opening across your chest, lifting the chest up and out on the diagonal. So those are some options to make it more active. If you'd rather it just be a little more passive, then relax your feet, relax your legs. Just have your hands in your lap instead. So you choose. Sit up tall and breathe. If it becomes uncomfortable to sit with your legs straight out like this, you could try a different variation. You could try sitting with crossed legs instead. Just release out of that and moving along. So we're not spending a ton of time in each of these poses today because I want to show you several of them. So if you want to come back to any of these later, you certainly can. So we're going to take that cross-legged seat again. So cross-legged seat, put the leg in front that doesn't always get to go in front first. So if you always sit like this with your legs crossed and your right leg is always in front, switch it up so your left leg gets a chance to go first this time. So we're going to take a version of a forward bend, which we do a lot. We're going to add our pillows. So plop a pillow or two right in front of you. And then we're just going to kind of walk out, lean on the pillows. You can cross your arms if you want, or you can just let your arms kind of drape over the pillows and let your head rest. If you get there and that feels like too much of a stretch, because we want to be able to hold these for a little bit of time so you can relax in it. So if that's too deep of a stretch on your outer hips, take another pillow, pile it up on there. I'll show you from the side. So just resting on a pile of pillows with crossed legs. Arms can be wherever you want. You can close your eyes. And then if your head is turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other side if you haven't already. I can stay in this one all day. All right, let's go ahead and come on back up to sit. And I'm going to show you another version of Dandasana. So let's put a couple pillows off to the side. Hold on to one. And this time we're going to sit up straight and have a pillow underneath the knees. If you have a thin pillow, kind of a roll-shaped pillow, you could use that. This is another case of, you can even take a regular pillow and just kind of fold it over and just sort of double it up like long ways like that. So you're making more of a roll and place that under the knees. I think that's what I'm going to do here. So this time we're sitting on the ground. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you could certainly still put a pillow under your hips, but you may not need to. So what we're doing here is we've got this kind of a pillow roll under the knees. You're either sitting with your hips on the ground, which is what I'm going to do, or you can sit on another pillow if you'd like. And once again, the feet are hip width apart or wider. And we're just sitting tall in Dandasana. So just like before, if you want to make this more of an active pose, you could stretch your arms out to the sky and lift your chest and reach through your fingers, keeping the belly drawn in, flexing the feet, reaching out through the heels. We're not trying to straighten the legs on this one because we can't because we're in this position. And if you want it to be more passive, you could also put your hands down by your sides, like pressing your palms into the floor for an active version of the pose, or you can be more passive and just let your hands rest wherever. So sitting tall, you can close your eyes here if you'd like. If you find that your eyes don't want to close, just try to find a focal point. Find something to look at to just help center yourself, help find that focus and calm yourself down. And then from here, we're just going to start to walk the hands forward, walking the hands out towards the feet. Maybe your hands land at your ankles, maybe they get all the way to your toes. You could even put your hands down on the floor, palms down on the ground, and let the upper body just drape over. By the way, this could be another great place for a pillow. Right on your tummy, just let yourself drape over that and let your head hang down. This feels really good. Deep breaths. Bring your attention to your back. Breathing into your back, feeling that space between your shoulder blades open up. Feeling the back of your neck lengthen as the weight of your head releases down. And if your body still feels too tight and this is not a good stretch, if this is creating stress in your body, add some more pillows and give it another try. So if you have a tight back, hips, hamstrings, maybe you need a couple pillows. Try that. Keep breathing. And at any point in the pose, feel free to adjust the pillows. Notice if any parts of your body still need a little help relaxing. Remind yourself to relax. Maybe relax your thighs. Maybe it's relaxing your neck, relaxing your jaw. You can do a mini body scan in all of these poses just to notice what parts of your body you could potentially relax a little bit more. All right, and then we're going to come out of that and transition to another version of child's pose. So before we did child's pose with that pillow back here under our legs, this time you're going to take a pillow or two and pile them up in front of you. You're going to take your knees apart. I should do this facing forward, I guess. So knees kind of apart for this one. Pile those pillows right in front of you and then just take a child's pose. You can hug the pillows like this if you want. You could have your arms to the sides, whatever you like, and then just let your head rest on the pillows. I'll show it from the side. Pile up as many pillows as you want. Definitely two. I think definitely two. Maybe three. So child's pose. Breathing here. Deep breaths. And then if you've had your head turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other side. All right, and then just make your way back up to sit. Okay, so now we're going to move into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is a really good one to do with pillows. So Baddha Konasana is the one where we have our soles of our feet together, knees apart. By the way, this is a good one. You could do pillows here underneath. You want them to be about the same height. So pillows under your knees, sitting up tall. Let's just do that for a moment. So sitting up tall, bend the knees, the soles of the feet together. You can make these pillow supports as high as you need to. So like this side I've doubled up because that's kind of a flimsy pillow. And you can shove them in close to your hips to get the knees up higher. If your knees naturally kind of sit up high here, which is totally fine. You want to be able to relax and just let the knees fall open, even if that takes several breaths. If you're more flexible, you may want to slide those pillows out a little farther so that there's a little support, just because it feels good, under the knees. So either way, sit up nice and tall through your spine and just breathe. Feel the chest widen across your collarbones, shoulder blades slide down your back. And then just rest. Okay, so Supta Baddha Konasana is that pose lying down. So I'm going to show you this one from the side. This is one of my favorite ones to do, with or without pillows. So with pillows, I'm going to pile up a couple, and this pillow is going to be slightly pulled more towards me. The top pillow, just there's a little space here. I'd say there's like 5 inches of space between the bottom pillow and the top pillow. And then I like one more pillow, maybe even two more pillows back under the head, kind of to make it like a headrest. So at this end, I'm going to pile up those pillows like that. And then I have kind of a lifted, there's a little incline on this green pillow on the top. So then what I'm going to do is turn my back to my pillows, come back to Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of my feet together like that. And then I'm going to lay back on my pillow pile. Adjust it if necessary. If it's not straight, if you're not going to be comfortable, then make sure you adjust to a place where you are going to be comfortable. Now for tight, actually one thing I do want to do here is have pillows under my knees, just like we did for the seated version. Forgot to tell you that, sorry about that. So take some more pillows if you've got them and push them in under your knees or under your thighs so that your knees can open and rest. So the idea behind this, and then just lay down, get settled in, let your arms just fall to the sides. The idea behind these restorative poses is that you don't want to be feeling a major stretch in these poses. You want to be able to stay in one of these poses for a long time, longer than I'm doing on this video typically. You want to stay in a pose like this for 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe more. So you want to set up conservatively. You don't want to set up with a deep stretch. Like if I start this pose out with no pillows, even though I have pretty flexible hips, if I stay like this for 10, 15 minutes or more, that's not what I'm going for. I'm not going for an extreme stretch. I'm going for a nice, cushy, supported, feel-good, supported pose. So you want to feel supported completely. All right. Arms just rest by your sides. Chest opens wide. Feel the weight of your arms just melting down towards the floor here. And close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. Breathing not only into your chest, but also sending the breath down deeper into your ribs, into your belly. At this point, I'm going to give you a couple options. You are welcome to stay here. If this pose feels really good, you don't need to get up. This could be your final pose. If you'd like to transition out of this pose into kind of a more traditional Shavasana, using our pillow one more time, then you can follow me and we'll transition to Shavasana. But again, you don't have to move. If you want to just stay here, stay here. If you want to come out of this, just take one knee across, roll to one side, come up slowly, and we'll finish with Shavasana if you'd like to do Shavasana. So for the final pose, you can do this one anytime in Shavasana. We're going to take a pillow once again, and I'm once again going to kind of make a little roll with it or turn it upright so that I get kind of a support underneath my knees. And just like we've done something similar before with the forward bend, but this time we're just going to lay down. If you want a pillow under your head, throw a pillow under your head. That's what they're here for. And we'll just come down into Shavasana on our backs with the arms down by the sides. So this version of Shavasana, we feel support from that pillow that's underneath the knees. If you want to make that higher, you can. You can add another pillow. You could even add a pillow under your feet. Add them all. Go crazy. I'm going to put pillows under my feet and under my knees and one under my head. And just see how it feels. You can experiment. Oh my gosh, this feels amazing. So wherever you are, make sure you're breathing. Calm your breath. With each exhalation, let the weight of your body sink a little deeper into the ground. Relax the muscles of your face. Relaxing your scalp. Relaxing down your neck. And continue that relaxing, that softening down through your shoulders, out through the arms. Relax your chest. Bring your attention back to those calm, deep breaths. Relax all the muscles between your rib cage, allowing the breath to move freely in and out. Relaxing in the abdomen, feeling soft through your center. Continue down, relaxing through the hips. And down through the legs. Feel that softening continue down to your feet. If you feel like you could use another body scan to help relax and release even more, you're welcome to do that. You could start at your toes this time and work your way up. Or you could start at the head again, work your way down. Or if you'd like to just breathe, that's great too. So to finish our practice today, you could choose to stay here and rest some more. Eventually, when you feel ready to come out of your final pose, make sure you do so slowly. And make sure you roll over to one side. You're just kind of curling to one side. Take a moment there. Take as much time as you need before making your way up to a seated position. Remember, there's no rush. Eventually, once you get up to a seated position, sit in a comfortable seated position, maybe even sitting on a pillow. Take some deep breaths here. Bring your hands together, palms meeting in front of the chest. Anjali Mudra. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking the time to practice today. And thank your body for everything it was able to do today. Namaste.